May I have your attention, Dora ma'am?
Yes.
Shall we start, ma'am, or we are waiting?
I think we should. Yes, we can
Shall we?
start.
Ma'am, can you please repeat because you were not audible?
Yeah, Dhalesa won't be speaking. I had left a message with Priyanka.
Yeah, I got the message, ma'am.
Okay, I think we can begin.
Sorry? Yeah. So, a very good afternoon to all of you present here.
Yes.
Good health is the foundation on which the success of your life is built. Good health, be it mental or physical, makes you confident. A healthy you is the greatest gift you can give to your family, society, and nation. An Arabian proverb says, "He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything." Arogyam paramam bhagyam, swasthyam sarvartha sadhanam. Today is 7th of April, and this day is observed as World Health Day. Lokmanya Jan Kalyan Shikshan Sanstha's Priyadarshini College of Engineering, Nagpur, has organized a guest lecture by Dr. Shishir Palsapure, a world-renowned life skills trainer and psychotherapist, on the topic Impact of SNS on the mental health of students and their work-life balance. I welcome all the dignitaries present here, and I invite Dr. Dora Thompson, ma'am, for the welcome address. Our guest today is already present here. Welcome, Dr. Shishir Palsapure.
Thank you so much. May I begin?
Just a few minutes, doctor.
Sure.
I think there is a network issue at Dora ma'am's side. Because the screen is frozen. Yeah.
We are very proud and honored to have Dr. Shishir Palsapure, a well-known psychologist, psychotherapist, psychoanalyst. I think you name it and he has it. This is the impression I got from Kavita Shah ma'am yesterday as I was talking to her and going through your curriculum detail. So today, I'm extremely happy and proud to have your benign presence with us, who will share your expertise, and I am sure your students are going to benefit from the sharing of your knowledge. So, Honorable Dr. S.A. Dhale, Principal PCE, unfortunately, he is into the NAC accreditation last minute job because she couldn't join in. And first year Dean, Dr. Manisha Joshi, Head of the Department of Humanities, Dr. Bhumika Agrawal, event in charges, Priyanka Mishra and Kavita Shah, all the HODs and all my loving students. As I already said, I feel very honored and privileged to deliver this welcome address during this very important week on the World Health Day. Good health, happiness, well-being, and contributes to prosperity. progress as healthy populations are more productive and save more and live longer. We must consider ourselves fortunate to see the light this day, even after being victims of such fatal pandemic situations. So once again, I extend my hands of warm welcome to Dr. Shishir Palsapure, who will enlighten us today with his value additions and inspire people not just to be physically well and fit, but also have a sound mental health. Most welcome, sir, and over to you.
The first World Health Day was celebrated and observed in 1950 after 7th April was set aside as a designated date to celebrate the creation of the World Health Organization in 1948 in the first Health Assembly. The day thereby marks the anniversary of World Health Organization after it was established in 1948. Priyadarshini College of Engineering always focuses on the overall development of the students. We organize various webinars and seminars to promote our students in all walks of life, and today we are happy to organize this guest lecture. I request Dr. Roman Janbandu sir to introduce our dynamic and young guest, Dr. Palsapuri.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So, good afternoon to all the dignitaries and my dear students. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce our today's guest speaker, Dr. Shishir Parsapure, sir, MD, MSc Psychology, and International Life Skill Trainer and Psychotherapist. He is the director and founder of the company Morphic Minds and also of the affiliated training center of IAREBT, USA. Of being educated at the best institutes in the world, like Harvard University, Boston University, Albert Ellis Institute, New York, and Beck Institute, Philadelphia, USA. Dr. Shishir is truly sharpening the future generation with his unique preventive emotional educational program for preschools, schools, and the youth called CORE, CORE. He has brought Nagpur to the world map by representing India at international conferences like the American Psychological Association Convention at Hawaii, World Congress of CBT Therapists at Peru, Latin America, and twice at Spain. Dr. Parsapure training workshops are in immense demand because of his expertise and down-to-earth nature. An expert in life skills coaching, personality development, and confidence building. He has conducted hundreds of CBT and REBT workshops and has trained thousands of mental health professionals and non-professionals and trained many celebrities. He also regularly trains beauty pageant contestants like Mrs. India Queen of Substance, Mrs. India Earth, India Royal Miss, Mrs. India, Mr. and Miss India, Globe Rubaru, Mr. India, Mrs. India Unique, Miss LED Nagpur, etc. Let's listen to him carefully. Let's listen to him carefully and his expertise and knowledge. Thanking you. Over to you, ma'am.
थैंक यू जनबंधु सर. इंसान भी अजीब मिजाज है. शरीर का ध्यान रखता है पर आत्मा से जुड़ने में डरता है. शक्ल को निखारने में व्यस्त रहता है पर विचारों को संवारने से कतराता है. और कुछ ऐसे ही मानसिक स्वास्थ्य के बारे में बात करेंगे आज के हमारे गेस्ट डॉक्टर पलसापुरे. ओवर टू यू सर.
Thank you very much, Kavita. Thank you so much, Dr. Roman Janabandhu, sir, for your kind introduction. And thank you, Dora ma'am, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with the students. It's been a long time. I have had a formal introduction and a formal program like this, but wonderful to feel, getting connected to the college life again. All right, so we're going to talk about the social networking sites and its effect on mental health today. I'm going to quickly brief you about today's agenda. Today's agenda is to first talk about the positive effects of social networking sites. The second thing, we are going to talk about the adverse effects. Third is, what are the major pillars to mental health? If you want to be happier, if you want to fulfill your dreams, then if you want to reach your full potential, what would be the pillars to mental health? Then some practical tips to restore balance. If you think that you are overusing social media, then how to restore the balance. And the last one would be when to seek assistance from a professional. A little bit about me. Dr. Ronan has already introduced me. I'm Shishir Palsapure. I'm Dr. Shishir Palsapure. I am a psychotherapist and life skills trainer. So let's begin. The positive side of social media. Almost everyone who is a student today would use social media in some or the other form. There are quite a few positive sides of it. If you ask me, do I have social media accounts? Of course I do, and I use them quite a lot. There are some good sides of the social media. First of all, it helps us communicate very efficiently, faster, and in a much better way. There are quite a few things that we can do that we cannot do with snail mail. For instance, having to post a letter would be very cumbersome today. When was the last time you posted someone a greeting card or a letter? So I went to one Archie's gallery one day, and this the person there was pretty depressed because nobody would buy cards these days, right? So we simply send WhatsApp messages, and it's done. So we are able to communicate much faster. We are able to send our live location to people. Communication has absolutely, definitely improved in terms of the efficiency, right? However, there are there are other advantages of social media, which are number one, it has helped us build relationships that we probably never would have imagined in past. For instance, long distance relationships have been possible because of social media sites today. And we have been dating people who are out of our religion. We have been dating people out of our cities. We've been dating people out of our countries, continents. Not yet a different planet, but I'm sure that very soon that would happen. So we have had lots of relationships which probably would have been impossible without the social media. The social media, there are the dating apps that we probably never imagined. I mean, like when we grew up, we didn't have these dating apps. No regrets, but yes, at least we have them now. But yes, relationships have evolved because of social media network. Normalize, a lot of people, I think almost everyone goes through some or the other psychological challenge. There is no clear demarcation between, this is a psychologically ill person and this is a normal person. We all have some or the other psychological challenges that we face. And, sometimes we think that we are only us who is suffering. But with social media, we have started sharing our problems much faster and with a larger audience. And then we know that we are not alone. And this is a very good size, I would say, plus side of social media. Specifically with teens, teenagers do not approach adults or their psychologists or their teachers for their problems, but they share with each other. It could be someone stranger from a different continent altogether, but they now know that they are not alone going through the same problem. So normalizing has become a much more effective because of social media. Now we know, if you know about the Me Too movement, that started on Twitter, and a lot of people came out that I have been sexually abused in childhood, and I have been sexually abused in at work. So this entire movement gave us a perspective that how powerful social media could be about sharing our problems and normalizing that we are not alone. However, the downside, this is why I have been asked to present this, is like we all know that there is a downside to the social media usage. The number one is time. A lot of time is spent in these social media accounts, and the more number of media accounts you have, for instance, if you have WhatsApp, if you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have Pinterest, and there could be a lot of other social media sites, that the more number of accounts you have, the more time you're probably going to spend on them. So it eats up. I'm not saying it is abnormal to use social media. I'm saying that it could become dysfunctional. Now let's talk about dysfunctionality in terms of any behavior can be problematic. Even sleeping can be problematic, but sleeping is essential as well. Eating can be problematic, but eating is essential as well. So any behavior for that matter can impair your functioning in other areas. For instance, if I sleep at the wrong time, it may impair my studies. If I eat more than what is required, then it may harm my physical health. In a similar way, when social media is used or abused, the same thing can become dysfunctional or unhelpful to you. So the number one downside of social media is time. And I'm thankful that we passed our 12th grade exams before Facebook, Instagram were even, introduced. I'm sure that I would have had a hard time today passing any exam because I have very bad ADHD. I get distracted very quickly and, sidetracked. If I have social media on here and if I see notifications, I'm quick to get sidetracked by those notifications. So I'm thankful that I cleared all my exams way before, or else probably I would be selling pani puri and not be sitting here. But anyway, I would love to see you selling pani puris. They make more profit, right? There's a latest research that suggested that street vendors earn much more than regular job seekers. It's like, wow, I so want to go there. All right, so number one killer is time. The second is the content. Now, this is so important. What do you see on social media is very important. First of all, let's ask ourselves, what do we post on social media? Do we post our failures? Do we post that we just had a fight with my partner, or I lost my keys, or all the setbacks that we have in our life, or I'm broke, or probably I don't have money? No, we rarely do that unless someone wants a lot of attention. But most of the social media content is positive because people post positive content. They want validation from others, and therefore the content that we see on social media today is filled with positivity. So if you scroll the feed, you will see everyone has a better, supposedly better relationship status. They have a better financial status. They have posted their pictures from the holidays. And now when you repetitively see only positive content, you might infer that their life is much better than my life, right? And I am miserable. I am living a miserable life. In fact, people selectively choose to post positive content. And if you see for hours and hours that everybody else is having a great time, it is very natural for us to focus on the positives of others and focus on the negatives of ours, that I am having a miserable life. Now, this is something that predisposes you to depression. There's another aspect to this, that not only we post positive content, but we also post distorted content. With the invention of filters, so many blind dates have gone wrong, right? when you actually see that person, it's like, oh, is that you? And it's like, yeah, that's me. But in reality, people look much different than what they have shown on social media. In fact, I had a interview with a plastic surgeon the other day, Dr. Deepak Dugar from Beverly Hills, USA. He's a Hollywood celebrity plastic surgeon, and he says that when these celebrities actually, visit his clinic, they don't look like what they look on social media. So these celebrities can't even match up themselves on in real life. So leave alone anyone else. So I may be envious of somebody else's skin, and I may spend thousands and thousands of rupees on getting the skin like that person who I have seen on social media. But if in reality I go up to them, their skin may not be that good. So because of the distorted content, we also have a distorted view of how everyone else is living their life. Now this is so important, specifically for teenagers and very young people, that they do not have to take everything on face value. However, somebody may have posted that I just purchased a Mercedes. That could be a fact, but I'm not saying that that's distorted. However, not everything that's on social media should be taken on a face value. Some of these facts could be distorted. So the second problem with social media is the kind of content you see there. Now, there could be some negative content as well that can disturb you. For instance, I the other day I had a patient, and she said that she is very, very scared of snakes, and she has never encountered snakes in real life. However, the other day she was scrolling Facebook, and suddenly a snake video popped up, and then that led to her having a very severe anxiety episode. Now we also see very gross content on social media. It's like brutal killings and somebody dying with an accident. Now such content can be very sensitive, and some people can really be sensitive to this content. So such negative content can also disturb our mood, and we can not only get disturbed but also stay disturbed. You also may have had arguments with people on social media. In real life, they wouldn't even speak a word against you, but when on social media, they would not hesitate to spend hours and hours arguing with you. I enjoy such fights on social media, even if I'm not involved in them. I love to watch those fights. Uh, and that can, if you are a part of it, you can get so disturbed that I just want to give a befitting reply to this person so that they block me, but that just doesn't happen. They have another reply ready, and then it just escalates. So such content can be really disturbing. The point is that there are multiple triggers that can worsen your mood on social media. So this is what is the downside of social media. Now, one more thing is that I remember the times when we used to go to a video cassette library. If you probably know what is a video cassette, like we used to go to a video cassette library. We used to get a video cassette on rent, of course, Tom and Jerry, and then the rent would be 20 rupees, and we'd hire a VCR for 24 hours, and that would cost us 100 rupees. And we used to wait for Sunday to do that. And now it's just a click, and Netflix, and then Prime Video, and then Hotstar, and we have all those channels subscribed, all those portals subscribed, OTT platforms subscribed, and we have everything on the tip. Now this keeps us stimulated. The more amount of time you spend on social media, it gives you what we call as a surge of dopamine in your brain, which is the reward hormone, right? Like the reward chemical of the brain, not hormone. It's a reward neurotransmitter. So you get stimulation in your brain. And now when you get stimulated, you feel good. If anything that feels good, you're going to do it over and over again. So you get reward or dopamine by, let's say, eating nice piece of pizza. You might get reward by someone appreciating you. You might get a reward by, someone likes your photograph, or someone comments nice things on your Instagram post. So this stimulation is extremely, extremely addictive. I think as addictive as sugar. It is very addictive. But the problem with dopamine is that wears off, it washes off your system very quickly. So you need a dose of dopamine again very quickly to stay stimulated. Sometimes we need a continuous dose of stimulation to stay at a happy state of mind, right? And the moment you do get away from social media, you get to a baseline, which is boredom, right? Now this boredom could be this could be negative feelings like anxiety. The negative feelings could be loneliness, And now these negative feelings push you back to getting the dose of dopamine again. And with usage, the more number of hours you use, the stimulation threshold goes up, which means that you need a larger dose of social media to get that stimulation. Now, let's imagine that the stimulation your studies offer you is at this level, right? This is the level of stimulation the studies offer you. And you've just started using social media. So this is the level of stimulation social media offers you. Within a couple of days, the stimulation that the social media offers you goes here, and the study stimulation remains there. Now, obviously, when you are studying and putting an effort into a mundane task, you will be naturally inclined to seek more stimulation. So you're going to get distracted to seeking more stimulation. And the stimulation studies offer goes down and down and down and down and down. And then you need more and more hours to stay stimulated. And this is why people who use a lot of screens, not just social media, but a lot of screens, have a raised stimulation threshold, and they fail to enjoy simple things as, you know, smelling a rose, growing a plant in your garden, or a simple hug, or a stranger meeting you, or having this nice coffee in all by yourself in a tapri, right? Probably. So people stop getting stimulation from such things because the stimulation threshold has gone up. And now add to this very powerful games like PUBG or other, I don't even know these names, but yeah, I think you know them. So the more stimulating animated game is, the more likely it is that it will lower your stimulation that you receive from other sources, and then you will probably lose interest in relationships and studies and other things. This is what I mean by stimulation. It offers a lot of stimulation, and then you lose interest in other things. The more problem is with inertia. As long as you use the screens, not just social media, you are not active, you're resting or probably not moving. Over a period of time, your basal metabolic rate goes down. Like, the amount of energy you spend throughout the day, it goes down, but you might be eating the same amount of food or probably slightly more because you're distracted while eating. So the brain just doesn't get the signals from the stomach. It's distracted to something else, and it continues to eat slightly more. So now this imbalance over many days can lead to obesity and other disorders like diabetes and hypertension. Inertia is also problematic because it leads to depression. It worsens existing depression, and then you feel lethargic more and more and more. So you do not move, you lose muscle mass, you gain fat, and then you are predisposed to other disorders like obesity, heart disease, blood pressure, diabetes, hypertension, and diabetes. Now, the most alarming problem with social media usage is its direct link or correlation with depression, anxiety, and substance use. So we do know that people who use social media are more likely to be depressed and have anxiety and substance use problems. And it's the other way around as well. People who are depressed already, they tend to use social media more and more and more. Instead of doing things, for instance, like taking help from a professional, or probably exercising, or deriving happiness from multiple sources. So the helpful things they might be avoiding, and social media usage can become what we call as a substitute activity. All right, I just want to look at all people's cameras right now. I want you to switch on your cameras and raise your hands. How many of you postpone doing things? How many of you procrastinate? So I will raise my hand. How many of you procrastinate? काम को टालते हैं आगे, आज नहीं कल करेंगे, बाद में करेंगे. Okay, I could see only 3-4 faces. Not all. Okay, you guys have raised your hands. Oh, wonderful. So, which means that everyone procrastinates here, and that's true. The problem with social media is, again, and I'm going to address on procrastination if Kavita ma'am and Dora ma'am permit me. Someday we'll have a presentation on how to deal with procrastination. I love to procrastinate. I mean, I love to speak on procrastination. The problem with procrastination is that social media usage can become a substitute activity. Like you were supposed to do something, and then you switch to social media, and then you can take hours and hours and hours, and then finally think that, oh, the time is gone anyway. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. So that's a problem with social media. Is like you're more predisposed to depression, anxiety, substance use. And if you already have these problems, it's best to reduce your social media exposure. Now, let's quickly talk about pillars to mental health. What are the 5 different pillars to mental health? These are essential for everyone. If you have a disorder, if you don't have a disorder, these are the things that are indispensable. The number 1 key to happiness is sleep. Oh, we already know it, right? But, almost everyone is sleep deprived. Okay, let me ask a clear question. How many times a week do you wake up with, refreshed, like, wow, I'm so refreshed now. I want to jump out of bed without an alarm. You jump out of bed, brush your teeth, and, quickly fold your blanket, make your bed, and, within half an hour, you're having your breakfast. How many of you have that? Do you even remember when was the last time this happened? No, right? Do you remember? Okay, fine. There are a couple of people sitting here. But majority of us, please let me sleep for 5 more minutes. Mama, please jao na tum. Fan kyun off kar diya? Fan shuru karo. This is what happens, right? With majority of us, that we want to sleep 5 minutes more, 10 minutes more, 10 minutes more. So we are sleep deprived. The ideal window to sleep is between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So we need 8 hours of sleep. Adults need 8 hours of sleep. Adolescents need slightly more sleep, which is, if you are below 18, then you need more hours, like 9 to 10 hours of sleep. Children need even more. But majority of students do not sleep at this time, which is 10 o'clock. Forget it. No, 10 o'clock the life shuru hoti hai. And right. So the problem with disturbed biological cycle, biological clock, is that it has a direct effect on your mood. The circadian rhythm is a very good regulator of mood. And if you disturb it for many days together, your natural sleep cycle becomes late. Like, for instance, you fall asleep at 2 o'clock and wake up at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. Then your total daylight exposure reduces. And that is one more factor that contributes to depression. So if you are used to sleeping late, which you will say that, even if I try to sleep early, I don't fall asleep. So that's my natural sleep, because your biological clock has already been reset. If you are habituated to sleeping late, you are more prone to depression, anxiety, and even dying early, right? So we have a clear link of sleep deprivation and heart disease and early death. Exercise is a second pillar to mental health. If you want to be happier, then exercise 1 hour a day. Definitely, any form of exercise that increases your heartbeats, heart rate is recommended. Do seek a physician's consultation before you start any vigorous exercises. However, light exercises are definitely recommended for everyone if you do not have a physical disease. The third pillar is nutrition. I'm not going to give you a big lecture on diet. However, just one key to balanced nutrition. Ask yourself about every single bite you take. Is my bite nutritious? So every bite nutritious is the key to better nutrition, right? Just one thing I'm going to tell you about nutrition is like every bite be nutritious. Screen time needs to be reduced. The recreational screen time is anything other than your studies, right? Anything other than your studies should be less than 2 hours. So recreational screen time includes use of WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube videos. Anything that's besides your work and studies is recreational. ideally the screen time should be less, the total screen time should be less than 2 hours. But we are studying on online today, and we are working online today, so that is still harmful. But we cannot eliminate that. Otherwise we'll have to pay a huge cost. But the recreational screen time should be minimized to 2 hours, because of a very clear problem with screen time is that it leads to inertia. As long as you're using a screen, you're not moving. So and the last one is balance. I read a quote somewhere: the next best thing to love is balance. Thanos was obsessed with balance. Do you know? Like, he wanted to restore the balance of the universe. I mean, like, we can't restore the balance of the universe, but at least you can restore the balance in these 5 aspects of life. One is physical health, other is mental health, the third one is interpersonal health, fourth one is professional and academic health, right? And fifth is financial health. So all these 5 major aspects of life, they need to be balanced. So how to restore the balance? Imagine that you are driving a car and these 5 are passengers in your car: your physical health, your mental health, your professional or academic health, your interpersonal health, and your financial health. All these are 5 passengers in your car. Who will take the front seat is you will decide. For instance, you are students, so majority of times the academics would take the front seat, like driver's next seat. Do not let any of these areas drive the vehicle. You will be the driver, however someone would be sitting on the front seat. So sometimes it would be academic, sometimes it would be physical health, like you fall ill, then you need attention. So probably you will have to get that on the front seat. And but never kick anyone out of the car. So social media is probably something to do with your interpersonal health. Social media could be something to do with your professional health. Do not overuse it and lose the balance of all these 5 things. Right. So how to restore this balance? The first thing is to monitor your usage. There are applications like Your Hour, YOUR HOUR. I'm going to type it out in the chat box. Now, this is an application that monitors social media usage and all apps that you have on your phone, and it monitors the usage. I was dead shocked when I saw my own usage once when I had installed this app. I thought that my usage would be around 3 to 4 hours, which is slightly more than what would be recommended. I was shocked to see that I used to use phone for 9 hours a day, 9 hours, right? And that means that I'm not working in those 9 hours. The rest of the 8 hours I'm sleeping, and then I need time to get ready and everything. So I realized that my productivity was super low because of excessive usage of phone. So the first thing is to monitor your screen usage. The second thing that you can do is to have specific zones where you will not allow the phones or any screens to enter. For instance, the dining table, you can clearly decide that I'm not going to take the phone to the dining table. Then when you are successful doing this, stop taking phone to the bedroom. And the most difficult, the highest probably on the top of this pyramid would be not taking phone to the toilet. So, but starts with the dining table, that would be easiest, and then go higher up. So have green zones where you will not allow any phones or laptops to enter. Multiple sources of happiness. Derive happiness from multiple sources. In fact, someone asked me, what is the key to happiness? I said, there is the problem with the word key is singular. There should be multiple keys to happiness. Imagine that you had a 10 crore bungalow, and then you had only one key to it, and you cannot remake that key, right? And if you lose that key, you're going to get locked out of the bungalow forever. How anxious would you feel if you just had one key? In a similar way, if you invest everything into one thing, say for instance relationships or studies, and some people are crazy after studies, some people are crazy after money, some people are crazy after a relationship, and they have only one key to happiness. And that's the trap. The moment you have a single key to happiness, you have laid a trap for yourself, and you're going to feel miserable if that doesn't happen. How many times have you felt miserable when your loved one or your crush did not reply? And then you kept waiting, kya hua, double tick dikh raha hai, do two blue ticks, and still the person has not replied. That's probably because you invested too much into only one source of happiness. Have as many sources of happiness. I'm not saying have 5 or 6 girlfriends and boyfriends. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that invest in getting happiness from workouts, invest in happiness from drinking, say for instance, something out of you, for instance, learning a skill or a musical instrument, or learning a new language, or helping other people. There are so many different things that can give you happiness. The more number of sources you have, people and non-people sources, the better you will be emotionally stable in the longer run. Then screen yourself for depression and anxiety. It's pretty easy. You could use online tools like there is a standardized tool, Beck Depression Inventory and Beck Anxiety Inventory. Write it down. You can get it online. You can check yourself for depression. If the scores are more than 19, then you need attention. But you could go to a psychologist as well to screen yourself of depression. Depression is extremely common, super common. It's just like cough and cold. I would say COVID. It's as common that we have lots of depression all around, specifically after COVID, directly due to COVID, and because of the after effects of COVID, the pandemic. We have depression that has surged a lot, right? Um, if you feel sad and depressed for most of the day, for more days in a week than none, for more than 15 days in a row, probably you have depression. If you stopped enjoying things that you used to enjoy earlier, you probably have depression. If you worry a lot about what will happen and that gives you a lot of distress, you probably have anxiety, right? Remember that your behavior of using social media is fully under control. Many times we think that I just can't control the urge. And that's true. You can't control the urge, but you can stop acting on the urge. You will continue to have the urge to use social media. However, remember that there is a choice point where you will be able to, see that this is the choice point where I can stop and I can revert. Say, for instance, you have been already binge watching Netflix, and this is the third episode you're watching. You can tell yourself that I have the urge to watch the fourth episode, but I have a choice point and I can stop anytime, right? So reminding yourself that your behavior is fully under control, however, the urge is not, will empower you to stop using social media whenever you want to. I also give the example of this thing. If I give you this is a bubble wrap, right? Now you could have the urge to pop the bubble wrap, like you already have the urge to pop bubble wrap, right? But if I ask you, stop popping the bubble wrap, you'll probably stop popping it, but you will have the urge to pop it anyway. Similarly, you may have the urge to reach out to your phone. You can act on it. You can also stop acting on it, right? This is the clue to getting more control over your behavior. And the last one is, I would say that when to seek help. It is important to know when to seek assistance. If social media usage is causing significant issues in your life, for instance, it's taking up a lot of time, it's affecting your studies, you know that you can score better, but you are not scoring better, there could be underlying problems. If you think that you're depressed or you're anxious, if your relationships are getting affected, if people are pointing out that you need to stop using phones when they are around, if you have started avoiding people or other activities over because you want to use social media, then this is a time to seek assistance from a professional. Excuse me. So it's never too late. You can always seek assistance even before these problems start. If you want to reach your full potential, you can always seek professional assistance. That's all for now. I think I just want to quickly give you the links to my social media accounts. Like one, Instagram is Morphic Minds, and also I have another account, Life Hacks Forever. How ironic is that I'm stopping you from using social media by giving you my social media handles? What a hypocrite I am. Sorry. You will also find me on Storytel. I have an audiobook published there. It's a psychology podcast. And you'll probably have to subscribe to Storytel to listen to the podcast. If you have any queries, you can always write to me on shishirpal@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I'm open to questions right now. Thank you.
It was indeed an amazing session, doctor. And बोल के शायद आपका गला भी थक गया है. So students, I'm sure you all must have learned a lot many things. However, सोशल मीडिया आपको बहुत कुछ सिखाता रहता है, लेकिन सोशल मीडिया के साइड इफेक्ट्स जो हैं उसके बारे में आज जो कुछ बातें डॉक्टर ने हमारे सामने रखी है, उसके बाद आई एम श्योर यू ऑल मस्ट बी हैविंग सम क्वेरीज एंड यू कैन सर्टेनली शूट कम अप विथ your questions and you can certainly interact with Dr. Palsapure just for, you can say, few more minutes. Yes.
Does anyone have any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
Let me tell you, doctor, that during my lectures, I have like mentioned your name about the mental health to my students.
Excellent.
That social media, क्या उसके मतलब side effects हैं, and how you guide students, what all you do for youth.
But you yourself have been, actively involved in so many social projects. I keep seeing you. I envy your life that you interact with. You have a genuine concern for the youth, and you have worked in so many different platforms for the youth. So it's I think it's your passion to help the youth, right?
One of the reason to join college.
Oh, wonderful. I envy you almost all the time, right?
Okay. So students, you can certainly come up.
Dr. Palsapure, sir, I have a query to make.
Sure.
I don't know how alive the students are on board here. But then we have all taken to the Android phones as being part and parcel of our lives. In fact, I would synonymize it as an oxygen cylinder for us. So in this scenario, what suggestions and advice would you give students who use the phones for social media platforms, plus who cannot do without it even when they do not need it?
So, you probably need to monitor, these people need to monitor their usage, how many hours they are using. And, that's a tangible thing that they could see, that if they are using for more than 2 hours a day, then it needs attention, right? If they're using the recreational screen time is more than 2 hours a day, it needs attention. If they think that it's affecting their relationships or work or probably studies, then they need to seek help. Because
Excuse me, sir, I have a question.
yes, Aditya.
Sir, how can what is the best way we can manage our time, like social media, studies, and all? What is the best routine or best way we can manage?
Okay, so I think I have answered this question during the class itself, that have some green zones where you will not have the phone around you. For instance, your study table is something that you will definitely not carry your phone to. So start with a low difficulty level, and then extend it to specific times or specific zones, areas where you will not use the phone. Now, this way you will gain more and more control over your usage, instead of having the phone there and then continuously feeling guilty that I checked the messages and I spent 2 hours and I could have studied more. Have specific zones where you will definitely not carry the phone. Now, this discipline may take slight effort, and but it will, once you start doing this, you will see the results within like 21 days or 3 weeks, that you will probably get used to doing this. The second way is to look into the long term consequences of, let's say that tomorrow morning you stop using phone, stop procrastinating. Where will your life be 1 month from now, 6 months from now, 5 years from now? And stop using, in the sense, stop overusing the social media. And in the time saved, you do something else productive. 5 years from now, where you will be as compared to jaisa chal raha hai chalne do, leave it the way it is happening, and where you will be 5 years from now. So project yourself in time, 5 years from now, and then you will probably gain an insight into how much it is damaging. The problem with social media users is it's a low impact activity, which means that it does not have an immediate and a huge impact or a huge loss, and that's the problem. And you think that you can get away with it, but the cumulative effect is huge. I hope that answers your question, Aditya.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thanks for asking. Anyone else?
So,
Yes.
so how can we improve our sleep cycle?
Excellent question, Richa. So have first of all have a sleep hygiene in place. What we call a sleep hygiene are specific things that you do just before sleeping. So first of all, target your sleep time between 10 to 6. This is the ideal sleeping time. Now start winding up by, let's say, 9 o'clock, and then the winding up could be as simple as taking a shower, taking warm milk, or pulling the curtains, or making your bed. Now, these behaviors give the brain instruction that you're going to sleep. Second, do not study on the bed. The studies only should be done on a table and chair, and the bed only must be used for sleeping. Because if you eat on the bed, if you study on the bed, the bed gets conditioned to different things, and then you probably will lose sleep on the bed. If you have a disturbed sleep cycle, then start sleeping 15 minutes early every day. So let's say that you, on an average, you sleep at 3 o'clock at night. Then tonight you're gonna sleep at 3. Tomorrow you're gonna sleep at 2:45, and a day after tomorrow you're gonna sleep at 2:30. So do not make drastic changes in your sleep cycle, but prepone your sleeping time by 15 minutes every day. And if these things fail, if you have a sleep disturbance, it could be because of anxiety or depression, but most people have it because of screens. And then if you leave the screens outside the room completely, I mean, like switched off and outside the room, that is the way to restore your sleep cycle. Initially, it will be difficult, but slowly it will become easy for you. I hope that answers your question, Richa.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That was a very wonderful session and it was very enlightening and an amazing piece of knowledge. And you shared your knowledge with us in depth. Thank you so much. Yes, Kavita.
Yeah. And I now invite Vinay Khurgade sir to come and propose a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, on the behalf of the organizing team, it is my privilege to propose a formal vote of thanks on this occasion. My heart is filled with gratitude and respect for our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Shishir Palsapure, for not only sparing his valuable time for us to grace this occasion, but also for enlightening us with his commendable talk on the importance of mental health. Thank you for clearing our concepts and enhancing our understanding pertaining to the topic. We, we really owe you a lot. I'm running short of the word to express my humble thanks to you. My heart goes out to thank our respected Dean student, Dr. Manisha Joshi ma'am, for accepting our invitation, attending and encouraging the morale of the students. I would also like to present my heartfelt gratitude to Head of Department, Humanities, Dr. Bhumika Agrawal ma'am. Thank you ma'am for always inspiring us. Next, I would like to thank the torchbearer of this event, respected Dr. Dora Thompson ma'am, for leading and inspiring us toward the goal of achieving the overall development of the students. We also thank to her for her huge support at all times. Last but not least, I thank Ms. Priyanka Mishra ma'am, who always lends her technical assistance to us, Dr. Roman Janbandhu sir for introducing our guest, Mrs. Kavita Shah ma'am for hosting the event, and all the faculty members of Humanity Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay sir.
College, I'm sure you would have taken side tea, given you refreshments. So we have an online gathering.